Yeah, I don't know if he's ever going to be one of the top echelon guys in the National Football League, but if this defense plays the way they should be able to play, the way we think they're able to play, he should be good enough for them to win with.
All right, now we talked about some other positions. They haven't cut Fred Taylor yet, have they?
Not that I know of. He's still on the team.
Back to our program with some other positions of note. Everybody's in love with this running back core. I don't think there's any question. Everybody's in love with this running back group, and certainly they're very good. But I think if you lump the early guys together, and I guess maybe I'm not going 10. I may be going 11 and 9.
Okay.
But I think if you lump what the early guys get, what Natron Means gave you guys in the biggest games you'll ever play, okay, the biggest games you'll ever play, what I think when Fred Taylor got here, the young Fred Taylor, and again, 10 years ago he wasn't here, I thought Little Man Stewart was a good red zone guy. I like that group of running backs. I don't think he gets nearly enough attention. These guys are terrific. Nobody debates that. I'll take yesterday's guys.
You know who I like too? I like Barry Sanders. He wasn't on that team either, Tommy. I mean, come on. Give me a break. They weren't all together at the same time. In any given year, you pick any combination of guys, I will take what they've got right now. I think Maurice Jones-Drew is a superstar in the making, and I'm a guy that is convinced that when the time comes, he can be an every down back for the Jacksonville Jaguars and carry the load. I think Fred Taylor has rededicated himself at this stage of his career, and he's in phenomenal shape. I think that combination is just lights out.
Okay, well, I'm leaving Fred Taylor out of it. He had 17 touchdowns as a rookie. If we include that, I'd probably go yesteryear, 10 years ago. I love Nate. I love James Stew. You're right. He was a great in the red zone. He could score touchdowns. But the breaking ability, game-breaking ability of Maurice Jones-Drew and Freddie Taylor will overpass the guys of yesteryear. Natron Means, keep in mind, he did his best work in the 96 playoffs. And he was great. He was phenomenal. But you know what? I'll take MJD and Freddie Taylor.
Ding, 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 ding.
We now turn our attention to wide receivers. Then and now, I refuse to get in this discussion. Come on. Jimmy Smith and Keenan McCardell versus I can't name these guys.
Did they
Reggie
give us
Johnson
however
and,
much time we have is
Matt
too
Jackson
much time.
And I mean, I can't. I mean, why would we get into this one? These ones.
You look at where can you start? Jimmy Smith is better. Give me Jimmy Smith. You can have all the rest of them.
Right.
Okay, and you can almost say that about Keenan McCardell.
Sure
In fact, you might be able
about
to say that
Keenan
about
McCardell.
Keenan McCardell, and that's just the way it is. I mean, that is what's held this team back. Now they got a collection of guys that look like they've got something there, but they don't still have that top end guy. They don't have that perennial All-Pro guy.
No, I agree. I mean, it's really not even an issue. Jimmy Smith, keep in mind, he really didn't get going till after Andre Rison was released the year before, and then he just broke out like crazy. I'll take Thunder and Lightning back then. I'm going to throw my friend Pete Mitchell a bone because he was a great pass-catching tight end as well. Let's not forget Willie Jackson was a very good third receiver in that offense. So I'm going 10 years
Willie
ago
Jackson
without a doubt.
would be the best player on this team. Would be the best receiver on this team.
I was a big fan of Willie Jackson.
In fairness, that group of receivers, 50 years from now, we may say that group of receivers was the best group of receivers this team's ever seen.
Yeah.
All right, there's a little bit of offense. What about defense? Position by position, including linebacker. What was the best? We'll talk about it after this on 1010XL Showdown.
Rub dirt in it and take a laugh. It's time for more 1010XL Showdown presented by Florida Telco.
It is our Jaguar Then or Now show. We've talked about it position by position. Now, typically, Mike or I start, but it's only right. We're going to linebackers. Number 55 gets to go first.
You want to know what he's going to say before you go ahead and state your position.
Then or now, linebackers then, linebackers now. Tough one for you.
Let me break it down. Look, Mike Peterson's a special player. There's no question about it. Brian Schwartz and myself, we were good against the run. I think we were pretty one-dimensional. Mike Peterson can do every facet of the linebacker position. Play the run, blitz very well, effectively, and cover the pass. However, I'll take Hardy all day long. Kevin Hardy could play Will. He could play Sam. He could rush the passer. He could cover. He was pretty good against the run. And the guy we're missing, Eddie Robinson, was one of our best linebackers in 1997. Never came off the field. Was one of the top cover linebackers in the game at that time. I'm going 10 years ago. I'll take Mike P. Mike P's awesome, but for the rest of the bunch, myself, Boyer, Kopp, throw him in there. I'm going 10 years ago.
I love that you went 10 years ago.
That's it.
You know I love you. Unfortunately, I think these guys can really run. I think what Darryl Smith showed us last year is that he can play two positions, weak and middle. I think he's ultimately the middle linebacker for this team when Mike P didn't play anymore. I'm like you. I really like Mike Peterson, and I think Clint Ingram, and then the numbers. If Justin Durant's what I think he's going to be, and all the depth they've got here, they cut Tony Gilbert. They may cut him with a pretty good player. I like the volume and the depth. Mike, I'm going to go this group of linebackers.
Well, I'm agreeing with you, and I think depth is a big factor in it. I tell you what the biggest factor is. The advantage they had at middle was so big, it was hard to overcome.
Nobody hit like me. I know. I understand.
You know what? You're talking about Mike Peterson in the middle, and he is a phenomenal guy.
Yes.
I wonder, though, how long he's going to be here in Jacksonville. You just look at Justin Durant pushing
And they've got their middle linebacker of the future in Darryl
Right,
Smith.
and that's the thing. And
Yes.
Clint Ingram and Durant on the outside, they're going to have 3 young linebackers. I don't know if there's a team in the NFL right now that you'd rather have that young group all the way across.
You're going with potential. I go with production. I'm going 10 years
I like that you went there. Finally, coaches, Tom Coughlin, Jack Del Rio. Mike?
Well, look, if you go on production, as Tommy's talking about, which I do when you measure a coach, 2 AFC championship games, and to me, case is close. There are some things about Del Rio, though. He is a guy that is built to last longer than Tom Coughlin in the terms that Coughlin can only stay with the group for so long because of the way he puts his demands on you, the abrasive manner. I think with a group of professionals, he can only last to a certain degree. And I think you look at Coughlin, judging him as a GM and building this team, I don't begrudge him for taking a shot at it when he had the team to do it, but he did lead this team in a bad situation down the line. This team right now is in great footing. You think if they keep the core together, this team can contend for the foreseeable future.
Tom or Jack?
Look, I played for Tom Coughlin. I hold him in very high regard. I think Tom, one thing about him, he was always fair and consistent. He was the perfect coach to build an expansion team. Year 1 to year 2, we had a lot of turnover, and then we had the 4-year run. I'm going with Tom Coughlin because of all the playoff appearances of the AFC Championship appearance. Until Jack Del Rio wins in the playoffs, I go Tom Coughlin.
I go with Tom, too, for the same reasons you just said, Tom. But I do think it's close. I think Jack Del Rio is a good coach.
Sure,
I think Jack Del Rio is a good football coach.
Yes.
I think he's the right coach. It's the right time. He's had some tough luck with quarterbacks. I mean, I said this to him. I said it to Mike. If any team, I don't care if it's the Colts or the Patriots or anybody else, if you lose your quarterback at midseason, you're going to have some tough years. And 2 years ago, they had a pretty good one. So I'll take Tom Coughlin, but really by a hair. We're almost out of time. We'll come back in a moment. Then, which team was better, then or now? We'll wrap it up after this on 1010XL Showdown.
Now back to the 1010XL Showdown presented by Florida Telco.
It's our Jaguar edition of 1010XL Showdown, then or now. The early Jaguars, the current Jaguars. All right, fellas. Tommy, who's the better team? Better football team?
Look, I'm biased, of course, but we came off that 96 run. In 97, we were loaded up. We went 11-5. Not the way we wanted to end, of course, out in Denver. Terrell Davis ran all over us. But I'll tell you what, we had a lot of talent. We went through the positions. I think it's comparable. There are some positions they're better today, but I'm going with 10 years ago. Hopefully they can change my opinion after a great season.
Boy, I tell you, based on what they did, you have to go with 10 years ago. But if you put them on the field at the same time, I think it'd be interesting. I think the edge ultimately goes to the passing game being the one area that's so much of an advantage for the old team compared to this current version. I want to know, too, you played for Tom Coughlin.
Yep.
What do you think it'd be like playing for Jack Del Rio as a linebacker?
Yeah, sure. No, I'd love it. I'd love it. He's a fiery guy. He was a great player, too. A big middle linebacker. I didn't realize Jack was that big until he got here. So, I think he can relate a little bit. Tom's brash. He's a guy that's going to sit there and be like, hey, it's my way or the highway. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. But, I think Jack Del Rio would be a fun coach to play for.
Yeah, well, here's why. Because you guys, had 4 days and 5 a days and had camp for about 6 months. Yeah. These guys, hit one time and go play the season, right? And that's what
exactly.
all the old boys
night
say.
Practices. What?
Practicing at night, for crying out loud, right? All right, that is our program. Thanks for coming by. That was fun.
It's great to be here. I appreciate it.
Tom McManus from 1010XL, of course, and a former Jaguar player. Folks, that is our program. Thanks for being part of it. Jaguars then or Jaguars now? For Tom McManus, for Mike Dempsey, I'm Frank Frangie. So long, everybody.
Still all comes down to the middle linebacker.